What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel, kicking it back to some Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel content. Today, I'm finally catching up on some of the backlog of decks that I have been creating, and today we're going to be stepping into our next deck profile video, which is going to be Black Luster Soldier Super Soldier. This is one of my favorite cards of all time, and I really wanted to try and sit down and make a deck that really worked, and sadly, just straight Black Luster Soldier was just a little too slow. So what I tried to do was I tried to incorporate a little bit of the Chaos engine. Monsters that revolve around banishing a light and a dark monster from the graveyard so they can be special summoned from hand, which is exactly what this card here does. We'll get more into that. So I wanted to try and get a little bit of that kind of an engine, something that still remained very similar to Black Luster Soldier. And yeah, it works out pretty well. I will go over the deck's weaknesses, the deck's strengths and weaknesses at the end of the video. When it comes to his deck profile videos, from now on, I'm actually going to just do the deck profile and then talk about the strength and weaknesses of the deck, and then we'll hop into ranked at another time. If I try and get a ranked match in while doing the deck profile, it just takes forever, especially when some of these duels can just go on for 15 minutes themselves. I don't want these videos to be absurdly long. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in. But before that, you know what to do if you enjoy the Master Duel content, and if you actually want to be a part of some of the polls that I'll be posting to help curate what kind of deck lists that I do, please be sure to head down below into the description, click on the link, and head to my Twitter and give me a follow. But top left, bottom right, let's hop in and get started. So we play one Super Soldier Soul. So you can send a Black Luster Soldier monster from your hand to the graveyard until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Their next end phase, this card's attack becomes 3,000 and gets the name of Black Luster Soldier. You can banish this card from your graveyard to add one beginning night or evening twilight night from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Super Soldier once per turn. This is honestly one of the most fantastic tech cards that this deck has. I do not play it more than one, just because this isn't something I want to see all that often, but it's really nice when it comes up because it works pretty well with some of the link monsters that I have, as well as it can help kick off effects. It can help get me some of the stuff into the engine. I tried playing this at more than a 2, and I started seeing this more often than I would like, but then other times, but while it's at 1, I see it just the right amount. I hate doing it, I really do, but we're playing 3 Max C. The deck needs draw power. It really does. Like, this deck gets stuck pretty often, so we really need some draw power. So if you can get Max C in your starting hand, honestly, most of the time, you're pretty golden. But I'm not even going to explain what Maxi does. Everyone knows what Maxi does. It's one of the staples. Next up, we play 3 Manju of the 10,000 Hands. Normal summon or flip summon, just add 1 ritual monster or a ritual spell from your deck. We play a ritual deck. You kind of need this. Kind of need something like this. Unless you play something like Dryshans, some of these decks need just like a little bit of a search engine. So Manju covers literally both grounds. He gets you whichever one that you need. Next up, we play 2 Beginning Night. So if he is used for the ritual summon of a Black Luster Soldier monster, you can give that Black Luster Soldier 2 abilities. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls and banish it. This does not have a once per turn clause. Oh well, it does not have the you cannot attack clause like other Black Luster Soldier monsters do. This is phenomenal. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can activate this effect to have this card attack twice in a row. You can use both of these effects once per turn. So you can pop something off the field and then still slap something that's still sitting on the field. This card is phenomenal. If this card is banished from the graveyard, you can add 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. It helps fuel the engine. Amazing card, staple card. You need to play this at either 2 or 3. With the decks that I play, this is my preferred to play it at a 2. Next up, Evening Twilight Night. So the same thing. If it's used for Black Luster Soldier Ritual, it gains 2 effects. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, banish it. Again, it does not have the clause of you cannot attack afterwards. You can use this and then continue to attack. Once per turn, you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand face down until your opponent's next end phase. This could be detrimental. I have not found it all that useful, to be honest, because they still slap the shit out of me if they have a proper hand anyway. If this card is banished, you can add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Helps you search out your super soldiers. Real nice card. Love playing it. I play it at a 2. Envoy of Chaos. During the battle phase, you can quick effect. Discard this card, target a Black Luster Soldier or Gaia the Fierce Knight monster you control. Gains 1500 attack. until the end of the turn, and if it does, every opponent monster that battles it this turn has its attack become that monster's original attack during damage calculation only. So if they have like a big power boost against a Black Luster Soldier or Gaia monster, they're going to get dropped down to their original attack stat. This is great for trying to clear boards. Once per turn during your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 light and 1 dark monster from your graveyard, except this card and add it to your hand. It's a very, very nice tech card, very situational, but I like playing it at a 1. I see it enough at 1. It's worked very well for me at 1. Next up is Black Luster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Cannot be normal summon or sent. Must be special summoned by banishing 1 light and 1 dark monster from your graveyard. So there's that special summon effect that I was talking about before. Once per turn, you can activate one of these abilities, target 1 monster on the field, banish it. This card cannot attack the turn that this effect is activated. This makes a lot of sense. In order for Super Soldier to get this effect, you have to use either the 2 knights. This just comes staple on the card. It's a 3k beater. If this didn't have that clause, honestly, this card would be broken. Or if this attacking card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make a second attack in a row. So you can pick and choose what you want. If there's something really pesky on the field, maybe it can't get destroyed by battle, big attack numbers, you can just pop this onto the field, banish it, get rid of it. Very strong card. I do like this. Play it at a 3. It fits the engine perfectly. Next up is Chaos Emperor Dragon, the Dragon of Armageddon, right? Yeah, big name. Again, banish 1 light or dark monster to special summon it from your hand. You can only special summon 1 of this per turn this way. Once per turn, you can pay half your life points, send as many cards as you control to the as possible to the graveyard, except for the extra monster zone. Whew. And if you do send cards from that your opponent controls to the graveyard up to the number of cards sent to the graveyard, then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each card sent to the graveyard. If this card's effect, if this face-up card is special summon and leaves the field, return it to the bottom of the deck. Dude, this thing has a fucking novel. But essentially, you slap it on the field, you clear your whole board. For every card that you sent, you destroy the same amount on your opponent's field, and then you inflict 300 damage for each of their cards sent to their graveyard. Honestly, you're not going to use that all that much, but if you're in a situation where they have like very low life points, you couldn't finish them off, bam, this wins you duels that way. It's also pretty good at clearing boards, so especially if you have a decent field. This counts for your spells, it counts for your traps, it counts for your monsters. If you only have this card on the field though, it will not destroy anything. You just paid half your life points for no reason. So make sure you have something else on the field to activate this effect. Next up, we have the Chaos Creator. Same thing. Banish 1 light or dark monster to special summon it from your hand. If you control this card that was special summoned from your hand, you could target 3 of your banished monsters with different names, special summon 1 of them, then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Honestly, this just brings your monsters back out. It's a very, very nice card. I tech it in a 2. Very good. Very much love this card. And then the main man of the deck himself, Black Luster Soldier, Super Soldier. You can ritual summon this card with Super Soldier Ritual. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack in the graveyard. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, special summon a Gaia the Fierce Knight monster from your deck or graveyard. I don't like that second part, which is why I don't play any Gaia cards. Honestly, I don't like Gaia in a Black Luster deck. Weird as it sounds. I know he's like the second half of this deck, but I'm not a fan personally. I know a lot of people out there do it and it works, but me personally, this is kind of the spot that I prefer. It's still strong effects, but if you combo the life point drain off their attack with Beginning Knight and make a second attack, bro, you are either going to attack directly or you're attacking another monster to get this effect. It does so much, and that's why these 2 cards here are very imperative for this deck. You need these 2 cards to really beef up your Super Soldier. I love this card. He's so cool. Now let's move on to these spells and traps. 1 Monster Reborn, don't even need to say anything. Reinforcement of the Army, don't even need to say anything. It just searches your cards. Terraforming, don't even need to say anything. Searches your field spell. Trade-in, we play a ton of level 8s. I think 3, 6, we play 9 level 8s. This is a great draw engine card. Discard 1 of them, especially since with one of our ritual spells, we can use this from the graveyard. So, You discard a Super Soldier, you're still golden, baby. You draw 2 cards. Pot of Extravagance, don't even need to explain what this card does. More draw power, we need more draw power. Chaos Space, you can send 1 light or dark monster from your hand to the graveyard. Add 1 light or dark monster that cannot be normal summon or set from your deck to your hand with a level from 4 to 8 and with a different attribute of that monster. So if you send Evening Twilight Knight, which is a dark type, you're going to be searching Black Luster Soldier Envoy at the beginning because he's a light type. If you send Beginning Knight, which is a light type, you're going to be searching for one of these 3 cards, or your Evening Twilight Knight because they're a dark type. I'm talking like they're Pokemon. You can banish this card from your graveyard and target one of your banished light or dark monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set. Place that monster on the bottom of your deck, then draw a card. That part's a little niche, because most of the time these are what they're referring to right here, and it's kind of rare that you get them into the banish zone because these are kind of your targets to special summon, but it can happen. It can happen, so it's pretty niche. It still helps with draw power. It gives you more cards to draw and fish out more cards to add to your hand to utilize your engine through and through. Next up, Gateway to Chaos. When this card is activated, you can add a Black Luster Soldier monster or Gaia. Not going to mention that part anymore, though. From your deck to your hand. This is great for getting either your Black Luster Soldiers. Each time a monster card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can place 1 spell counter on this card for each of those cards. Max of 6. Once per turn, you can remove 3 spell counters from this card, add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand. This is great for searching out your rituals. It's a great card altogether for helping you search out your Black Luster Soldiers. It's a good card. It's a very strong field spell, and that's why we play Terraforming, because we want to try and find this card more often than not. Next up, Super Soldier Ritual. This card can be used to ritual summon any Black Luster Soldier monster. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels exactly equal 8. During your main phase, except the turn that this card was sent to your graveyard, you can banish this card 1 light monster and 1 dark monster from your graveyard to special summon 1 Black Luster Soldier ritual monster. This card, honestly, is very strong, but I like it at the 1 tech, because this is your main go-to ritual. We'll talk about that in a second. But it's super, super strong. If this is what you can go with, Gateway to Chaos, you have plenty of ways to search for this card and get it into your hand, which is another reason why I only play it at 1. I like it at 1. So far, it's worked out for me wonderfully. But it's a super, super strong card. Most people like to play 2-2, or hell, even 3-1. I like this card much more, but either way, strong card, very useful, played it at 1. Super Soldier Synthesis. You can use this card to summon any Black Luster Soldier ritual monster, so it negates its requirements for the Super Soldier Soul, or Super Soldier Ritual, sorry. You must also send 1 light and 1 dark monster, 1 from your hand or 1 from your deck, to the graveyard, whose total levels equal 8. You can only activate 1 Super Soldier Synthesis per turn. So, you have Beginning Knight in your hand. No other cards but this and a Black Luster Soldier who is in the graveyard, because you can use this while he's in the graveyard. You activate it, you discard Beginning Knight, and then you search for either Evening Twilight Knight or Envoy of Chaos. This ritual spell is amazing for this deck. I don't know why it's a common, to be perfectly honest, but this is my preferred go-to. This is what sets up all my plays, because this can be used while this guy is in the graveyard. It can be used while he's in your hand. Whichever one. As long as you have this guy somewhere in your hand or graveyard, you can use this card. It's very, very strong. Next up, onto the traps, beginning of Heaven and Earth. So you can reveal 3 warrior types, including at least 1 Black Luster Soldier or Gaia the Fierce Knight, and have your opponent randomly pick 1. If they picked a Black Luster Soldier monster or a Gaia monster, add it to your hand and send the rest to your graveyard. Otherwise, send them all to the graveyard. So, you can use this for a number of reasons. You can either use this to get a Black Luster Soldier, whichever one that you want, or you can bank it off the hope that they don't choose this, and that you send some of your stuff to the graveyard. There's some layers to this card, but it's a nice tech card to help you search your stuff out and get everything moving. I like it at a 1. It's helped me out a lot at just a 1. You can play this at 2. I don't recommend playing this at 3, because you'll have to choose between this or this, and I think this card right here is a lot stronger. So our final trap is Super Soldier Shield. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated that targets a monster on the field while you control a Blackluster Soldier monster, which most of the time you will, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. If this card in your graveyard, if this card is in your graveyard, you can remove one spell counter, hey, from the field, set this card, but it has to be banished. So essentially, you see how we have 2 of this? We essentially have 4 of this in the deck. This card is very strong. Most of the time, you're going to have a Blackluster Soldier out in the field. It's your form of negation. It's a super powerful card. I like this card at a 2. I definitely think it should be played at a 2 or a 3, which is why I played this card at a 1. Now, on to the extra deck. Most of this in here is garbage. I'm going to be completely honest with you. We're going to cover over the cards that you can use, but most of the time your extra deck is literally here for Pot of Extravagance and nothing else. But we have Link Karibo. Don't need to explain what this card does. Everyone knows what Link Karibo does. Changes an attacking opponent's monster to 0. Bam. Good. Nice. And you can tribute a Link monster, or a level 1 monster, sorry, to special summon this card from the graveyard. Amazing card. We then play Relinquished Anima. We tech this in a 1 because we play at the very least 1 level 1 monster. It works like a Relinquish. You can target a monster, scoop it up, make it a equip card, and it gains the original attack. This card has actually won me at least 2 games so far, so I like having it in Tekken as 1. Next up, this card is just great for getting a warrior from your deck to your hand. You can't normal summon it or special summon it until the next turn, but this is just great for activating your rituals. The rest of it is garbage just because I don't run any equipped spells. This is only there for the surge. This card is 2. These are some staples, so you pretty much should already know what this does. You link summon this, you discard a card, pop a special summon monster. Nice. You link summon this, you discard a card, you pop a spell or a trap and destroy it. Nice. You link summon this. At your end phase, you can add a continuous spell or field spell from your graveyard to your hand. Refreshes your Gateway of Chaos. I went on the other side. Nice. Now, the only other monster that we play a 3 of and is an absolute must in this deck because that's another Blackluster Soldier of Chaos. The Link monster for Blackluster Soldier. So, if this card was Link summoned using a level 7 or higher as a material, which most of the time you will, it cannot be targeted with card effects. Also, your opponent cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So, like a non-targeting card, no baby, you can't touch me. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can activate 1 of 3 effects. It gains 1500 attack, that's permanent. It can make a second attack during your next battle phase. That's stupid. I don't ever use the second effect. Or 3, banish 1 card on the field. This thing is monstrous and so splashable in so many other decks. Because I have them in other decks. But it's a Blackluster Soldier. You gotta play it in a Blackluster Soldier. In a Blackluster Soldier deck. We play it at 3. It's a very, very powerful card. Most of the time when I get this out in the field, I've kind of won the game. Because they can't destroy it by card effects. And most of the time, I'm going to use my first effect to gain 1500 attack, and they can't get rid of it because it's too strong. Very, very powerful card. This card wins you games. And there we go. This guy's... we're not going to talk about him. And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my Blackluster Soldier Super Soldier Ritual deck with a little bit of the Chaos Engine sprinkled in. Now, strengths and weaknesses of the deck. Let's start off with the strengths. Insane power. Almost everything that you're going to get out into the field has a 3k beater. Except for this guy, he's 2300, but that's fine. It's a 3k beater. So every big monster that you're going to get out has insane power behind them and is a very hard wall to take down. 2, a lot of banishing. This deck runs very well off of banishing stuff left and right. This guy banishes. This banishes. This banishes. This guy down here banishes. You have so much ways of banishing and popping things off the field. Phenomenal card. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. The banish effects are one of the better parts. 3, draw power and search ability. Like, the deck actually can get out a lot of stuff. And it's very dependable. It's very dependable in getting some of the cards that you need for certain situations. Now, for weaknesses, you can brick like a motherfucker. Like, I'm not gonna lie. You know how they say brick eyes? Yeah, no. This deck takes the take when it comes to breaking. That's why we play Max C's. That's why we play Trade-In. That's why we play Pot of Extravagance. That's why we play so many draw cards to avoid bricking. And these cards have saved me more times than you could think. 2, this is your only form of negation in the entire deck right here. This is the only form of negation in the entire deck. So if you don't have this, your monsters are going to get popped. They're going to get popped. They're going to get destroyed. They're going to get their effects negated and things like that. It's just natural that comes with these decks. A lot of these cards are a lot older, so they don't have some of this prevention. Besides this guy, dude, this guy wins you games. Make sure you try and get this card out there as often as you can, because if you can get him out there before your opponent starts doing their cheeky shit against you, you're going to be fine. But that is another weakness of the deck. And 3, when they get rid of your monsters, when they do tear down your walls, when they tear down your big boys, honestly, the deck is very hard to recover. The deck is very much dependent on having these guys, and it's a little hard to recover. Like, say your Super Soldier gets popped. Say your Blackluster Soldier Envoy of Chaos gets Envoy of the Beginning gets popped. Mostly because to get these guys out in the field, you have to do a lot in the first place. It's a little tough to recover. It can be done, you can do it, but I'm telling you, the main goal of this deck is to either utilize those banish effects or get this guy out. Once you get this guy out, you're going to be sitting very nice and very pretty, but you need to get there first, and if they can stop you before you get there, it's going to be a little bit hard to recover. That's why we play cards like Monster Reborn. That's why we play cards like Reinforcement of the Army. That's why we play Gateway to Chaos. That's why we play all the cards that we do to try and recover if we do get popped. So, there we go. That is my Black Luster Soldier, Super Soldier Ritual deck with a little bit of the Chaos Engine sprinkled in. We will be revisiting this deck very soon to cover this this deck in some ranked matches and show you guys how this deck can perform in some ranked matches. But for now, that is all from me, guys. Let me know what you guys think of the deck down below in the comments. And like I said, head to the description. Check me out on Twitter. You can be a part of the polls that I post and all that stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. See ya.